You are welcome to this video tutorial. This is David Gladness. On today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you on how you can replicate this simple design you are seeing right on your screen, making use of just your Pixellab. Alright? If you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel or you are new to my YouTube channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button and also do well to turn on the notification icon so that you will get notified whenever I upload a new video tutorial. Also do well to like this video and drop a comment if this video was helpful in the comment section below. Now before we proceed with the tutorial, all the resources I am going to use for this particular design is already provided in the description box below. You can go to this description box and get the link to all the resources I used on this particular design. Alright, so without further ado, let's proceed with the tutorial. Now the first thing I'm going to work with here is my background. Now the size I'm going to use is the regular Pixellab default size 1280 by 1280, so I'm not going to tamper with that. Now the background color we are going to use, all you need to do is to come to this place you're seeing color, then click on gradient. Now the color I want to use is something like this. You can see that I want to use this particular gradient type of effect, but then if you're opening your gradients for the first time, you might come across something like this or something relating to any of these gradient effects. Now tap on plus, tap on these are the two nodes we are going to work with, these two nodes. So for this particular node, tap on it, then click on the color icon you are seeing my cursor right here. Tap on this pencil like icon, then the color code we are going to use for this particular shade is 381106. 381106. Then tap on this mark icon. As you can see, it has given me a very dark brown. Then click on OK. Now when you are done with that, tap on this OK. Now for this second node, this particular node right here, tap on it, then click on the color icon. This time around, click on the color palette. Then we are going to input the color code C3875A. C3875A. Then highlight it by tapping on this mark icon right here. Now as you can see, it has given me another shade, but then this time around a very brighter shade of brown. Then click on OK. Now tap on OK. Now you see this particular node, we are going to move it to this area. Now this particular node, which is having the lighter shade, we are going to move it to this part of our background interface. You can see what I created there. Put this here and move this to the other interface. Yes, I think this is actually okay. Now when you are done, you can click on the OK icon. As you can see, we have been able to get the background successfully. Now the next thing we are going to do is to import our model image. As I've said earlier, all the resources you're going to need for this particular design will be provided for you in the description box. You can check the description box, you will get it there. Now I will just click on import. Now it will redirect me to my gallery. It's going to redirect it to your gallery. Here you can select your image. These are the resources I use for this particular design. So this is the latest image I want to work with, this model. Now as you can see, this image background was removed with photo room and the watermark is there. So I'm just going to crop it out like this. Now I'll tap on this mark icon. I'll highlight by tapping on the mark icon. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go to relative sizes. We'll go to our relative size, then increase it to something like this. You can see that. Now we are going to position this by going to our position icon, then we'll move it, or better still, you use your hand to position it to wherever you want it to be. Yes, I think this is actually okay. Now the next thing we are going to do, I feel like I want to adjust the color filter. So tap on the image, then click on this place you're seeing color filter. Now the first thing I work with is the saturation, because I want this to be a little bit brown. I want the lady's eyes, the skin tone to be a little bit bright. So I'll just leave the saturation on 20. Then the brightness, I think 3 is enough. And the contrast, let's see. Alright, you can leave the contrast on 10. Then the hue is the coloring, you can see that. So I would just like to, maybe this is too much. Alright, so let's leave the hue on 5, the saturation on 20, brightness on 3, and contrast on 10. The hue is on 5. Once you're done with that, you can tap on this mark icon. Now if you should look at this, let me lock the image. If you look at this part of this lady's hand, you will see that it seems like it was cropped out. Yes, it's because of how the image was downloaded. So we are going to edit it by duplicating this particular lady's image itself, then go to crop. Now flip it over. You can flip it horizontally. You can see that. Once you are done flipping, tap on this mark icon. Now we are going to our eraser tool. Go to the eraser tool, click on eraser. Now we are going to erase a very good number of this image, except for this particular hand right here. So we are going to erase every other part of this image. Now you can zoom in by tapping on this icon. You'll see my cursor. You can zoom in. All right, so that you will be able to erase it perfectly. You can zoom in, then tap on the zoom icon. Now you can erase gradually. In case you make any mistake, you can click on this undo button right here. You can see that. All right, so I'll zoom in. All right, as you can see, please make sure you take your time to erase this part. Okay, make sure you take your time to erase this part. I had to do it this way because I don't want the tutorial to be so long, so I'll just leave it like this, then tap on this mark icon. Now we are going to fix this part of the hand we just erased to this other part. Now you can rotate it if it will warrant you to rotate yours. You can rotate it a little bit and make sure you position it perfectly. Then you can increase the size as well. Anything you can do just to make sure that hand is perfectly aligned. I think I'll have to rotate this back. If it will warrant you to increase the height, please do well to increase the height as well. And as you can see, I have been able to work with this image and it's not looking like it was actually cropped out. So this is actually what we want. Now the next thing we are going to do is to merge them together by tapping on this layer icon, then click on this icon. Then you can select the two and click on this middle icon right here, then merge the two images together. All right, I think this is actually perfect. Now the next thing we are going to work with here is to give this image a kind of highlight. Like, go to your inner shadow and enable the inner shadow. Now we are going to make use of a white color. Now the kind of highlight we want to give it is in such a way that the image will feel like there is a kind of reflection coming from the right hand side, like a kind of reflection on this lady's image. So we'll just go to our inner shadow to adjust our inner shadow. So I'll just the blur radius, I'll reduce the blur radius to like 5. Then my offset X, since I want it to be from the right hand side, yes, you can see that it feels like there is a kind of lightning coming from the right hand side. So I'll just tap on this plus icon to reduce the opacity of that particular white color. I think this is actually okay. You can reduce your color transparency, then click on OK. Now as you can see, this is actually perfect. Now you can tap on this mark icon. Now I want to give this lady's image a shadow, so you can go to shadow, enable your shadow. Now the blur radius for this shadow is I'm going to work on my offset X. I think -10 is okay, and the offset Y can be on 10 or 11. Now the shadow is too thick. As you can see, the shadow is too thick, so you can tap on plus and reduce the shade of the shadow. You can reduce the shade of the shadow a little bit. So I'll just leave mine on 108000. You can see that. So click on OK. Yes, I think this is actually what we want, and this is actually okay. Now the next thing we are going to do now is to start bringing in our text and other things. Now to bring in a text, you can just tap on this A icon, then tap on this plus icon. Now the name of the brand is Brandy Magic Touch. Please, this was actually designed randomly. This was designed randomly. If it should fit into your brand name, it is a coincidence, okay? So I'll make use of a white color, and the font I'm going to use for this, I think I made use of Go Bold for the original design. I made use of Go Bold. So I already dropped the tutorial on how you can download and install fonts for the use of your design. You can check it out just in case you are not having the fonts. So the name of this particular font I used here is Go Bold. You can download it if you are not having it. All right. So I'll just make use of a white color, but then I'm going to adjust the shadow. I'll go to my shadow, enable the shadow, then the shadow opacity, I'll reduce it to like 40, and then my blur radius I'll reduce it to around 5. About 5 is okay, 5 is enough. Then my offset X to -5 and my offset Y on 5. Yes, I think this is okay, but then I'm going to reduce the shadow transparency by tapping on plus. Then I'm going to reduce the shadow transparency a little bit, then click on OK. I don't want it to be too thick. Yes, this is actually okay. Now when you are done, you can tap on this mark icon. Now go to your inner shadow, enable the inner shadow color. Now the blur radius, we can leave this on 5, the offset X on -5, and the offset Y on 3. 3 is enough. Now as you can see, the text is not looking good. Now we are going to reduce the shadow transparency by tapping on plus. Tap on plus. Now you can reduce the shadow transparency. This is the transparency. So I'm going to reduce it to about 95. You can see that, about 95.000. Now you can click on OK. Yes, this is actually okay. I think this is okay. Now you can go to your stroke, enable stroke, and make use of a white color for your stroke. But then I would like to reduce the stroke width to 2. Yes, this is okay. As you can see, we have been able to bring in the branded text. Now the next thing we are going to bring in here is the magic touch. So you can tap on plus, bring in a new text, then input magic touch. Yes, I think this is okay. Now you can tap on OK. Now the font I use for this particular text is actually Cavallo Regular. Cavallo Regular. You can go to this place you're seeing fonts or download it if you are not having it. So I'm using this particular font, Cavallo Regular. As I've said earlier, a tutorial on how you can download and install fonts has already been provided on my YouTube channel. You can check it out if you are yet to go through it. Alright. So the color I'm going to use for this particular design, okay, to save time, I will just make use of a color code. To save time, I will just make use of a color code. So tap on plus, tap on this pencil icon you're seeing right here. Now the color code I use is F8BF72. F8BF72. Yes. Now tap on this mark icon. Now you might be wondering how I actually got this particular color. I picked it making use of the color picker, and I selected it from this lady's finger. If you should look at this hand, this finger, the fingernails, that was where I got that particular color from. Okay, the background color as well, I got it from the model. I selected the background color from this model herself. You can see that. So that was how I come about the color I used for these designs. Now when you're done, you can just tap on this OK. Alright, now when you're done, you can tap on this mark icon. The color, I'm going to increase the size of this text, then go to stroke, enable your stroke and make use of a white color. Then reduce your stroke width to just 1. Then tap on the mark icon. Alright, now go to shadow, enable the shadow and reduce the shadow opacity to like about 50 is enough. Then our offset X, we are going to move this to -2 and the offset Y on 2. The blur radius, I would like to reduce it. Reduce the blur radius to about 2 or 1. 2 or 1 is enough for the blur radius. My offset X, I would like to add maybe 1. Yes, this is actually okay. Now I'm going to position this just beneath the brandy text. You can see that. Please always work with alignment. Always work with alignment. You will notice I always say this in my tutorial videos. Work with alignment. Those are just the arrangements. You can see how it is properly positioned beneath the branded text. Now, okay, I think we are missing something. The next thing we're going to do here is to form an imaginary logo for this brand. It is actually okay this way, but then with a logo it will be looking much more better. So click on this middle icon and let's form an imaginary logo. I'll just put this here, but then the color I'm going to use is going to be the same color we used for that magic touch. Now duplicate the shape, click on edit. You can increase the size a little bit. Now reduce the opacity and increase the stroke width to about 15. You can increase your stroke width to 15 and make use of the same color for the stroke width. Increase the size a little bit and you can see what we created there. So make sure it is at the middle. You can activate your grid line. After activating your grid line, you click on this magnet like icon or make use of the relative position to position it. Now tap on this mark icon. Now the next thing we're going to bring in is a text, Brandy Magic Touch. That's the name of our brand. So B for Brandy, the M is for the magic, and the T, that is BMT, Brandy Magic Touch. Now I think the font I use for that particular logo is Breath Fire. Yes, Breath Fire. Breath Fire. Yes, this particular font was the one I used. So I'm going to increase the size of the BMT. Make sure I position it at the middle as well. Now the next thing I will do is to bring in another shape, another circle shape. Then I will reduce the size in such a way that it's going to fit inside that particular end. You can see that. So I'll go to my relative position to position it at the middle. Then I will bring it down a little bit, as if I want it to. You can see that BMT, Brandy Magic Touch. Now we are going to merge all this shape and text together by tapping on the layer icon. Tap on this icon you're seeing right here. Now you can select, starting from this circle shape, the circle one with the stroke, the BMT and the last circle shape. Now merge them together. Now after merging them together, go to your erase color. Go to this place you're seeing erase color. Now enable. Automatically it is going to wipe off the white colors. But then there is still going to be traces of white. If we should zoom in, we are going to see some traces of white. To avoid that, you can just go to your color. You can go to color, enable the color, then select that same color we are using. Now reduce the size of the shape and position it at the middle right here. You can position it at the middle of the Brandy Magic Touch. Yes, I think this is perfect. But then I want to increase the size a little bit, then position it here. So I want to adjust my grid line. I'll take this off because I want everything to be properly aligned. I want them to be properly aligned. Yes, this is actually perfect. This is just what I want. Now I'll give this particular logo a kind of shadow effect. So we'll go to shadow, enable the shadow. Now reduce the blur radius to about 2 or 1 is okay. 2 or 1 is okay. Now the offset X can be on -2 and the offset Y on +2. Yes, I think this is actually better. Now the next thing we are going to do is to bring in shapes. By tapping on this icon, you are seeing shapes. Now the shape we are going to use is actually a square shape. Now you can reduce the size of your shapes. Reduce the size to something like this. Right. I want to move this lady's image down a little bit. Then I'll move it to the right hand side to give me more space. So I'll just click on edit. then reduce the size of the shape. I think this is actually okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go to stroke, enable stroke, and make use of a white color for your stroke, and make sure it is in one stroke width is okay. One is okay for the stroke width. Now we are going to shadow. Go to your shadow, enable the shadow. Now the blur radius, you can leave it on 10, but then we are going to reduce the shadow transparency a little. I'm going to reduce the shadow transparency a little, then I'll click on OK. Now I think this is actually perfect. This is just what we want. Now you can duplicate by clicking on copy and position it around here. Okay. Now you can duplicate again. You can zoom in just in case you are having issues. You can click on this icon to zoom in. You can see what we are trying to do there. We are still working with alignment. Everything is on the same line. So we are just going to adjust and make sure they are on the same line. Copy this shape again. This time around, position this beneath the first shape right here. Copy this shape again. This time around, position this one around here like this, forming another type of square shape. Yes, this is perfect. Now the next thing we're going to do is to start importing the images we want to use inside these frames. Now click on this shape. Now go to texture. Click on each shape, go to texture. Now when you're on texture, it's going to redirect you to your gallery. Now you can start selecting the rest of the resources. As I've said earlier, all the resources you are going to need for this design is already in the description box. You can get them there. Now make sure you highlight this ratio 1:1. Make sure you are highlighting on this, then move it up a little bit, then tap on mark. Now you can come to this place. As you can see, that image is not that even, so tap on this scale to increase the size. You can tap on scale. Okay, just tap on scale. Now come to this place. The same thing you're going to do for the rest of the images. Go to texture, select the rest of the image. So alright, so make sure you repeat the same process. Go to texture again. Now I'm going to select the last resources I used, which was this lady's image, but then I flip this one over. You can see that I flip it horizontally. Then repeat the same process, then tap on mark icon. You can actually leave this like this, or better still, you go to texture and increase the scale. Yes, this is perfect. And as you can see, the reason why we used stroke, you can see the rest of this white line that came out. You can see the highlights that came out. That's the main reason why we use stroke. Without the stroke, those things will not be showing. Yes, this is actually perfect. Now the next thing we are going to do is to bring in the services rendered by this brand. So click on this magic tool, duplicate the text. Now edit it and input our services. Then click on OK. Now you can reduce the size a little bit and position it right here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in a text. Double tap the text, and then I'm going to make use of these bullet dots. I'm going to make use of the bullet dots for this text. So I'll just make like 5. I'll just need like 5. I think this is 5 already. Now I'm going to input the services render. Alright, I think this is okay. Now the text, the font I used for this particular text, I think I used MT Extra. Then click on OK. I'm going to reduce the size a little. Now I feel like moving this rest of the text up a little bit, so I'll just click on this, then select these shapes, then I'll move them up a little bit. Yes, I'll move this up as well. Now go to your shadow, go to shadow, enable shadow, reduce the blur radius to 1. The offset X, you can make use of -2, or better still, you just use maybe -1. All right, the blur radius I'm going to use 2, and then the offset Y as well. Okay, I'll leave this on -2 and the offset Y on +2. All right, I feel like these shapes are too big. These shapes are too big. So I'll go to my line spacing and reduce the line spacing. I'm going to reduce my line spacing. You can see that I think -15 is okay. Then position this around here like this. But before then, I still want to move the rest of these elements. I want to move them up. So I'll tap on this icon to be able to move them at the same time. I want to move every of this up a little bit. Yes, this is enough. I think this is okay. So that we'll be having enough white space. So I'll just position this around here like this. I'll move this model image to the, okay, it is actually okay this way, but then I'll move it downward a little bit. Yes, this is perfect. Now I'm going to duplicate this, but then before then I'll go to my alignment. I'll go to my alignment and make use of the right hand side alignment. Now duplicate the text. This time around we'll make use of the right hand side alignment by tapping on this alignment right here. Now we'll have to adjust these bullet dots. I'll just clear up everything and input the rest of the services. Yes, this is actually okay. You can see that. Then we'll position this around here like this. Please always work with alignment. If it will warrant you to make use of your grid line, you can make use of it. So always work with alignment. As you can see, we are almost done with this design. We are almost done with the design. Now the next thing we are going to do is to bring in another shape. So bring in another shape, adjust it to something like this and increase the radius to about 10. Just make use of 8. I think 8 is a good number, or better still 7. Adjust it to something like this. You can enable your grid line. Now the color I'm going to use is still the same background color, the same color we used on the background. So I'll just tap on this mark icon, then click on the color picker and select a color from the background. Now I'll click on OK. You can see that, but then I want to increase the shade. It is too dark. I want to move my elements up a little bit. Yes, I think this is actually perfect. This is okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in another shape. But then before bringing in another shape, we are going to form a shadow effect for this particular first shape. So go to shape, increase the blur radius to a little bit, reduce the opacity, increase your stroke width, and adjust it to something like this. Now position it around here and increase the width of that particular shape to something like this. I'm going to reduce my radius back to 0. Now I will enable my grid line and make sure I position this at the middle. Now you will go to your blur radius and increase the blur radius a little bit to 10. 10 is a good number. Now position this particular shape at the back of the first shape. Yes, this is okay. Now you can tap on the shape and reduce the opacity. But before then, let's bring this down a little bit. So go to your opacity and you can reduce it to maybe 70 or 60. Yes, this is okay. Now tap on this shape, copy it, click on edit. This time around, just edit the height and the width a little bit. Now go to color. Go to color, tap on plus, click on the color icon, then select something from the background. You can select something from the background around here, then tap on mark. I think this is actually okay. So I'll go to my radius and reduce it. I want to reset my grid line, it's disturbing me. Yes, I think this is okay. So I'll just try to position it to be even. So I'll go to my position icon and move this downward. Yes, this is okay. Now you can tap on plus to bring in another shape. Adjust it to something like this. But this time around, you make sure it is the same color with the shape beneath the first one. So adjust it to something like this. Now go to your relative position to position it at the middle. Now the color we are going to use, enable your color and make use of this same dark one. You can see that, but then I want to adjust this shape a little. You can click on edit. Yes, this is okay. Now we are almost done with the design. We are just going to import our WhatsApp icon and the Instagram icon. Here it is. I'll reduce the size. You can zoom in to see what you are doing properly. Now position my WhatsApp icon around here. So I'll go to shadow, enable shadow, reduce the blur radius to 2, to 1. The offset X should be on 1 as well, and the offset Y on +1. So I'll just copy this text, this MTN stuff, empty extra text. I'll copy this, duplicate it, and then input the phone number I'm going to use. I'm just going to use my phone number. As I've said earlier, if you see any brand using this, it is a coincidence. Okay, I only use this for the sake of this tutorial. So I'll just position this right in front of this. All right, now I'll swipe to this side, import again, click on import and import the Instagram icon this time around. So I will go to erase color. I want to erase the white on the Instagram icon. So erase the color like this. Now reduce the size to something very small, just like the WhatsApp icon. Then position it around here. You can move it with your move tool. You can move it with the move tool. Now go to shadow. Enable the shadow color. Reduce this to 1. This time around, the offset X should be on +1. The offset Y as well should be on +1. Now you can copy this phone number text. Copy it. I think the brand this thing I used there was Brandy M Touch. Brandy _ M Touch. Please, if this is your username, it is a coincidence, okay? So I'll just position this around. I'll make it closer to the Instagram icon a little bit, and I'll tap on the mark icon. Now we are done with the design. As you can see, we have been able to design a very simple flyer, but then it is still looking smart. But then this background seems empty. I think I used the texture effects. Before then, I want to adjust my WhatsApp icon a little bit. Yes, so I'm just going to click on import. The texture icon and all the resources I used on this design is already in the description box. You can get it there. So I'm going to increase the size of this texture a little bit to like 100. Then I'm going to move it. Now we can move this to back. So you can move it to back. Go to your opacity and reduce the opacity. You can reduce the opacity to maybe 15. 15 is enough. So I'll copy it. This time around, go to crop and flip it vertical. Flip it horizontal rather. I'm not just going to flip it horizontal. I'll also flip it vertical. So I'll position this one around here like this. But then I'll reduce the size a little bit before positioning it around here. Yes, this is actually perfect. And as you can see, we have been able to design a very simple and smart makeup flyer. So thank you for sticking around with me to the end of this video tutorial. Please, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, kindly hit the subscribe button. Also drop a comment on this video if it was helpful or not helpful. Also do well to turn on the notification icon so that you will be the first to get notified whenever I upload a new video. See you on the next one.